Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Super excited for you to hear today's amazing episode. But before I jump into that, I have so many people that reach out to me and ask, how do I start a podcast? What do I need to do? And what you guys listen to, wherever you're listening to this from, if you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, in my opinion, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. It's one of those things where I jumped into it because it has everything that I needed in one place. And that's what I loved about it. The tools that allow you to record and then edit your podcast from your phone or your computer, which is so accessible. But also, when you actually host your podcast on Anchor like I do, you can distribute that podcast on all the listening platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, all the different big ones that people are listening to. It's all from here. And it's everything that you need to make a podcast in one place. And the other great thing is, and why I always suggest it to people, it's absolutely free. And this is the easiest thing to do. All you have to do is download the Anchor app on Apple or on your Android, or go to anchor.fm. And that's how you get started. It's that simple. So if you have a message, if you have something really important you want to share, getting your podcast out on the anchor.fm platform will get you there. And not even will get you there, you'll be amazed at what could happen. So enjoy today's episode. Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. First and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to my home team, the team that I bleed green for each and every year, the Philadelphia Eagles, for advancing to the Super Bowl for the second time in the last 5 years. So I've born and raised in Philadelphia, grown up there, now live about 25 minutes outside of Philadelphia, just across the bridge in Jersey. But I can't tell you how gratifying it is as a sports fan, not only to have the Phillies in the World Series, came up a little bit short, but they weren't supposed to be there in the first place. The Sixers doing extremely well, and the Eagles returning to the Super Bowl. So for all those of you out there that are also football fans, send some good energy this way, and let's bring another championship home to Philadelphia. So let's get that out of the way. So again, welcome back to another episode, and have a very important topic to talk about today. So about a week ago, I conducted a poll. And I've done this poll, on, I don't want to say a frequent basis, but I would say at least once every other month, to take a temperature of what people are experiencing on LinkedIn. Now, there was close to 150 votes, and this poll that people were voting in, I basically let people know that if something doesn't change, LinkedIn is going to start cracking down even more so than they already are when it comes to all of the spam that's going on around LinkedIn. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. This is the spam messages, the 18 paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages that people send us trying to pitch us and sell us. And it's even gone a step further where people are actually sending us connection requests and they're adding a note. And in that note, they're pitching and selling us. I mean, I use the word gross in the sense of like, not like ooh, disgusting, but ooh, gross, that people are actually using this sales tactic thinking, well, number one, that it's a sales tactic and it's not. And number two, that people are really going to fall for this. So again, if this doesn't improve, and those that aren't spamming people, like I know all of you that listen to this podcast, you don't spam people because I think you're taking some well-deserved advice from someone like myself who doesn't do that, because I pride myself on doing things organically, genuinely, and authentically. Now, I just want to clarify. So there's a lot of people that may be doing certain things on LinkedIn that maybe they don't realize is being viewed as a spammy tactic. But also, if you don't know about these things, because maybe you're new to the platform, you're not using it as often, I just want to kind of give some forewarning to be on the lookout and what we can do. So if any of these things ever happen to you, it's okay to take it upon yourself to report someone's profile. The only way for the platform to improve is for us to take the initiative and keep it safe, keep it a networking platform, keep it business only, and keep it not salesy. Now, the three things that you always want to avoid to not allow yourself to get classified as a spammer on LinkedIn is, number one, when you are connecting with people, if you don't know them, meaning that there's no personal connection to the individual, just hit the connect button. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, well, Scott, when I do that and I want to connect with someone, LinkedIn prompts me to add a note, to personalize the note, to raise the chances of the person accepting my connection request. In theory, that's great. In reality, people aren't using it the right way, meaning they're taking some sort of spam message, embedding it in this note, and then sending it out. The only time you actually want to add a note to a connection request is if there's a personal connection to that individual, meaning you know them. Maybe they're a colleague of yours that, or an ex-colleague. Maybe it's a friend that you went to college with, or maybe grew up with. Maybe it's a current colleague or employee or coworker of yours. If there's a personal connection to that person, add the note and state the personal connection. Very simple. The second, I would say, occurrence where you would add a note is maybe you were referred to talk to that person. So I get connection requests all the time with a note attached saying, hey, Scott, you're coaching my friend XYZ person. I'm also interested in learning how to work with you. Please accept my connection and look forward to talking. That's a referral. They're making a mention of a connection point between myself and them with another person. So if you're going to connect with someone, make sure you make a personal connection to that individual. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of people that will say they'll look at the mutual connections or shared connections that you have with that person. And they're like, oh, hey, I saw that you're friends with Rebecca John Stevens. Would love to connect. I think we can all agree that if not all, I would say a great percentage of our connections on LinkedIn, we don't know. I have, between connections and followers, close to, I think, 29,000 connections. I don't know all 29,000 of those people. So if there is a mention of that personal connection to the person through another individual, make that mention. The third is something that happens to me all the time. Maybe you attended a workshop that my wife and I put on. Maybe you heard this podcast. Maybe you read my book. I have a lot of people reaching out to me on LinkedIn saying just that. They'll send me a connection request and they'll add a note and they'll say, hey, Scott, really enjoying your podcast. Would love to connect on LinkedIn. Hey, Scott, just read your book. Can't wait to apply everything that you wrote in the book. Hey, Scott, attended your workshop last week. Would love to connect. They're making some sort of connection point of how they came to find me. So those are the 3 specific instances where you do want to add a note to a connection request. The second thing you never want to do is use any automated services that connect and message for you. Now, here's the caveat. You will hear from marketing firms or digital marketing firms that, oh, hey, we have an approved software that we can attach to your LinkedIn profile that follows the guidelines of the user agreement to connect and message for you. They will tell you this. But what I will tell you is that they're lying. Because if you read over the user agreement on LinkedIn, which I will hyperlink in the description of this episode, you will clearly see all of the things that you can and cannot do. And one of the main things that you cannot do is use any software attached to your LinkedIn profile that connects and messages for you. Or if LinkedIn finds out that you have an automated software attached to your profile, which they can easily run a diagnostic to tell, they will restrict your account, and in some cases, they will delete it off of the platform. No if, ands, or buts. If you don't have the time to genuinely and authentically use LinkedIn, only spending 20 minutes a day, which is what I teach, you shouldn't spend any time on it at all. And the third thing is never, ever sell and pitch to your new connections in your initial reach out message. So for anyone that's ever attended any of our LinkedIn workshops, which we do multiple times a year, heard me speak, read my book, listened to this podcast for that matter, something that I always tell people is to follow what I call the magic formula. It's the proper way to message someone on LinkedIn. You state their name in a genuine fashion. Hey, Steve, great to be connected to you. You state and make known the genuine connection point between you and that person. I noticed that we both had a business background in XYZ profession or XYZ industry. I would love to hear how things are going with you, share more about what's going on with me, and how we can support each other here on LinkedIn. And the third thing is you finish with a call to action. Do you have any time this week or next week for a call or a Zoom? What you don't want to do is sell and pitch in the initial reach out. I can't tell you how many 18-paragraph long drunkalog verbal vomit messages I get each and every single week of people using this tactic thinking it's going to work. Now, I will give, this is just my recommendation, you don't have to respond to these people. You can block and delete these people and report them. You can do the same thing with people that are doing the spammy notes. But what I'll do is I like giving feedback. I like receiving feedback myself. I also like giving feedback to other business professionals. And I will let them know, you know, this comes across very disingenuous, very salesy, very spammy, very inauthentic. And I'll give them some constructive feedback. Now, some of them actually are receptive. I had someone say, thank you. I will reword how I do things. I appreciate you letting me know. Other people block me because they don't want to hear the truth. So make sure, again, we don't want to contribute to the spam. We want to reduce the spam, right? So only add a note to a connection request to someone that you either know or referred to connect to
or have a connection with, either listening to their podcast, reading their book, attended a webinar and such, right? Do not use any automated services that connect a message for you. That's a direct violation of the user agreement. And do not sell and pitch to your new connections on the initial reach out. So again, I hope you found this helpful. Love and gratitude to each and every one of you, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.